you're just at the mercy of the ruling party and whatever bureaucrats they put in place, and they can just define something that really is not hate speech as hate speech just because they don't like it.
Free speech in Europe is under attack. Ireland has attempted to fight off these draconian hate speech laws that are being implemented by our EU overlords. I was very grateful for Elon Musk speaking out against the Irish hate speech bill. More recently, Europe fined his platform X, presumably because he won't bend the knee when it comes to free speech. We garnered similar support from JD Vance, who sent a letter to Irish senators describing the importance of free speech, and people like Rowan Atkinson, aka Mr. Bean, speaking about free speech in Europe more broadly.
My starting point when it comes to the consideration of any issue relating to free speech is my passionate belief that the second most precious thing in life is the right to express yourself freely.
My principal goal in this video is to demonstrate the sad state of free speech in Europe. 1, so we can push back against it, and 2, to realize how important it is. And 3, for the more naive viewer who might think the situation isn't that bad, that our illustrious politicians would never weaponize these free speech laws against us. We'll start off with censorship of the trans topic. And Graham Linehan, Irish writer and creator of beloved sitcoms like The IT Crowd and Father Ted, was arrested for his trans tweets. For saying something as innocuous as, if a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. Just a clear reference to the absurdity of someone in the female bathroom having balls.
And when I stepped off the plane, there were 3 policemen on one side, 2 on the other, just flanking the doorway. And as soon as I saw them, I said, "Don't tell me trans activists sent you." They brought me to a quiet area where I wouldn't be embarrassed, and they told me I was under arrest.
Also in Britain, another Irishman was arrested for sharing, not tweeting, sharing this meme. Ooh, the spooky, dangerous meme.
So a perfectly peaceful war veteran is being handcuffed for a Facebook post by a politically motivated police force.
I shared what
Anti-British police force. There's nothing British.
I shared what he shared.
I shared it as well.
He shared it.
Right, somebody has taken offence to it.
Right. And you think no
Somebody's taken offence. Somebody's taken.
Oh my god, imagine someone getting offended. Hence why politicians in Britain proposed legislation to ban you from talking about offensive things in a pub. A Norwegian filmmaker was investigated and charged for saying that men cannot be lesbians. And it isn't just the government advocating for draconian censorship. According to this poll, millennials want misgendering to be illegal. Another source of censorship in Europe is coming from Islam. I know our Muslim immigrant friends are perfectly assimilating and would never want to tamper with our free speech. Even though this survey of 1,000 British Muslims found that 68% think that British people who insult Islam should be arrested and prosecuted. 78% also agree that people who publish a cartoon depiction of Muhammad should be punished. Obviously, there was the famous attack in 2015 where 12 people were killed because of the publishing of these images. There was also the man who was shot dead for burning the Quran. Swedish police gave him permission to burn the holy book in accordance with the country's free speech laws, but the government had to pledge to explore legal means of abolishing protests that involved burning texts in certain circumstances. Free speech, protest, the government surely can't allow that. Salman Rushdie was threatened for decades for criticizing Islam until he was finally stabbed in the eye and left blind. There was Theo van Gogh, who was stabbed and shot multiple times in Amsterdam because he made a movie about Islamic violence against women. But surely our government and law enforcement will protect us from these radical Islamists who threaten our free speech. Oh wait, no, they join in the censorship. Be critical of Islam, joke about Islam, and we'll throw you in jail. This man was arrested for saying, "I love bacon."
We want bacon! To be honest, we're talking to all your
How can you arrest him for saying he likes bacon?
And what's that?
You're not allowed to say you like bacon, but he's around here, lad.
Can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah, so it's anything that might be perceived to be racially abusive.
I like bacon. In Britain, home of the English breakfast. This is just flagrant tyrannical behaviour. The European Court of Human Rights also ruled that criticising the Prophet Muhammad by calling him a paedophile is not protected by freedom of speech. And a reason cited is religious peace. How pathetic. President Erdogan of Turkey, who the EU wants to ascend as an EU member. The same President Erdogan who's jailed people for criticising him says that we will eventually teach the arrogant Westerners that insulting Muslims is not freedom of thought. Not even freedom of speech, freedom of thought. They want to throw us in jail before the thoughts have even left our lips. Some other miscellaneous topics that have been pushed outside the Overton window. Like Scientology, a teenager faced prosecution for calling Scientology a cult. A black woman was arrested for using the N-word on social media. A student was arrested for asking a police if his horse was gay. A Polish priest was fined for comparing abortion to the Holocaust. A man was arrested for singing Kung Fu fighting at karaoke. And there's dozens of examples of religious Christians getting arrested for expressing their views on homosexuality. Just to note, you might think their views are abhorrent, but they should still have the right to say them.
A video making rounds on social media has captured a perplexing encounter in a public space.
Apparently during some conversations between yourself, apparently you have alleged, we weren't here, so I don't know you've said it, but you've alleged to say, speak English, or what's that effect? Speak clearly. Speak clearly. Okay.
We have rising crime throughout Europe, and our police force are keeping themselves busy by deciphering whether speak clearly warrants an arrest. They're busy convicting a woman of 4 who used a homophobic slur in a text message, even though the man she was referring to was assaulting her. But God forbid we defend a man who abuses women. It's good to know where their priorities lay. A German journalist photoshopped this picture to read, "I hate free speech." And without a shred of self-awareness, their response is to arrest him, of course. Obviously, our vulnerable politicians need protection from these authoritarian people who are criticizing them. While I do think a lot of the censorship is emanating from the left, it isn't strictly a left-right divide. I really appreciated when Angela Merkel criticized Twitter over banning Trump and the obvious chilling effects that has on free speech. And I'll leave you with this quote from Vincent Blasey, who said the most dangerous ideas can be defeated only by strong persons, not repressive laws. And to state the patently obvious, but the people who want to take away our freedom of speech because they're afraid of mean words and mean thoughts are weak.